What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Real Deal Sports. It's only two of us here tonight. Our third musketeer had to take care of some things, but he will be back for the next one. So we're gonna just get into it, guys. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals has just ended. John, what'd you take away from this one, man? What'd you take away from it, from your perspective?
Bam Adebayo. I mean, what else is there to take away? Like, sure, Marcus Smart and the technical, and then the flagrant near the end, and then just the free throws kind of added up on top of the fouls already. But the game, maybe it was winnable at that point, but really, I mean, it was already a 4, 5, 6 point lead. So, yeah, man, I went back and looked through every playoff game now that Bam has played. When Bam takes 10 or more shots, he's shooting 67. He's shooting 68%. When he takes less than 10 shots, he shoots 51%.
So it's a rhythm thing.
Yeah, so the more aggressive he is, the more efficient he is. He also, in those games, he takes 10 or more shots. Obviously, if you take more shots, you tend to score more, but the scoring is ridiculous because those games he's taking 10 or more shots, he's usually taking about 12 shots a game. He's not really taking – this is his first game over 12 shots the whole playoffs. So it's not like he's taking a ton over 10. But when you hear the difference in scoring, it's pretty crazy. He's averaging 22.2 points a game in those games when he takes more than 10 shots, only 9.5 points in the games when he takes under 10 shots. So, it's the efficiency. Also, the rate of scoring is much higher. He's just much better when he's aggressive. And, that's what, we know he's capable of this. During this regular season, he averaged 19 and 10. So, we know what he's capable of. So yeah, we just want more of this. Obviously, man, losing Jimmy Butler, they were up 21 in the first quarter. We don't really know when he got hurt, but he just never came back in the second half. And but yeah, man, I mean that's huge. But if they're gonna make anything of it, it's Bam's got to keep doing this, and I love it, man. I love an aggressive Bam.
But I think too. Miami just had a great game plan, like you say, after Jimmy. Kyle Lowry made some great plays. Even the one at the end, that's still at the end, when, Jaylen Brown, he was hot. He had made, 2 threes within the last minute, maybe, to cut, every time they go up 12, he hit a 3, back down 9. They get another layup, hit another 3. Now they down 8. So, big up to Kyle Lowry, man. That's why they brought him. They was hoping they can get more of this out of him, but I think having him now, he's fresh. He's fresh. He didn't really play the first or the second series, so he's fresh.
Yeah, Oladipo and Lowry are going to play some key minutes now, and if this next game, if Jimmy can't come back, right? So they're going to be super important. If you think about it, if Jason Tatum hits one more shot, this game might be a different story because Boston's not fouling late. They're not taking a bunch of threes, even though they hit them threes. They can play more basketball than just trying to play catch up. And so if Jason Tatum hits, he's one shot away from this being because sure, okay, Miami had a great game plan. The game plan was go up 21 and then hold on for dear life if that's the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a great game plan.
They did everything Dallas couldn't do last night.
Yeah, but it was a defensive game plan, and that's where it was important, right? Even after Jimmy left, they still played great defense, and that's what was important because
they were still making shots. They were still making shots too, even when it got close.
True, but these guys are, they averaged about 20 points a quarter after that first quarter. Like that's not super efficient. So um, that's 80 points a game at that rate. That's not good basketball. That's not great offense. So I'll say like the what came like what was most important was the defense. Like if they didn't play that defense, they would have got blown out. Obviously, but yeah, man, Jaylen Brown had a nice game. It's too bad whenever you see a player have a game like that and it go to waste. But Bam
40
had a
points.
great game too. Bam tore it up. But yeah, I mean, Jason Tatum, these games happen, right? He's a little like Paul George, man. They have these nights where they go 3 for 15, 3 for 14, 2 for 17, and that's and then they come back the next night and drop 41 on you. It's who they
Mhm.
are. But yeah, so it's gonna be scary next game if you're Miami, But I, one of the things we talked about, and we keep talking about Ime Udoka. I think he's one of the best coaches from him and Jason Kidd. When they go from game to game, man, these guys they take a loss and the next game they come in and take advantage of what you did to them the game before and expose what you did the game before. But Steve Kerr and um, Eric Spoelstra are some of the best halftime coaches I think there is. Like they make some of
Well,
the
you
best
got
halftime adjustments, and they're really great at that. But I think we have four of the top. We probably have the top four coaches in the finals, right, in the playoffs right now.
well, you got to think in Spoelstra and Kerr's case, they have championship pedigree. You've been there, done that. How many times has Spoelstra played in Boston? Coached in Boston when it was KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen versus
Yeah,
LeBron,
but
Wade,
but
and Bosh.
Jason Kidd's kind of like the Dallas feel is like almost like Rocky, Balboa. You know what I mean? Like
Well, him
we
and
get, we,
Udoka.
we get whooped. All right. We took our punches and then we come to the corner and then we talk about it and then we'll come out. You know what I mean? We'll come out at the end of the movie and then next time we'll whoop you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think Kerr and Spolstra, you can tell by a lot of these third quarters. Not this one tonight, but a lot of these third quarters, like they come out with a different game plan than the first half. Whereas Kidd and Adoka usually have a different game plan to start the game, or they usually kind of roll with it. Looks like a lot of times, but like it's almost like Kerr and Spoelstra. So it's almost like chess. You know what I mean? It really is like watching these four coaches go at it. It's really fun.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But I think Dallas has to win tomorrow. You have
Oh,
to
for
win
sure.
because I think if you don't win tomorrow, you get swept Tuesday. I really feel that way. And you can't. You gotta. I was telling somebody this earlier. What is with teams when you get up 20, you still jacking up threes? All you gotta do is just get a couple layups.
Yeah.
Couple. Like come on, bruh. And I think that's what happened with Dallas last night. They got up 20, then you kept going for the three, going for the three, going for the jugular, and Golden State got back in the game.
30 seems like a safe area where not a lot of teams ever come back from 30, but we've seen a lot of 20-point comebacks in these playoffs already.
Well,
Like
you
I
got to
feel like
think
at least 4 or 5, right?
true. Well, you got to think like this too. All right, you get three stops. That's 9 points. That's 11 already.
Yeah. That's
So
what's crazy about these quarters. It's like it's not like the other team comes out and outscores you 25-15. It's like whenever they go like that quarter where Miami came back in game 1 against Boston,
mm,
they outscored them 39-14. Like
right,
that's what's crazy about these. It's not and same with Golden State the other night. Like it's not like they just came out and played good defense and they had an okay offense. They're getting all 20 points back in a quarter. Like and all of a sudden it's like the
yeah,
fourth quarter starts and it's a new game. It's like, dang, this we were just up 25. What happened? And now it's a tie game. Like it's crazy
true.
how fast they're coming back in these games. But yeah, I agree with you. Like at 20, man, you still got to play. 20 is not safe in the NBA. You got to go play basketball. You can't just jack up threes.
Even playing 2K, hey, you up 20, beginning of the third quarter, you feel like you still got a chance. Because all
Yeah,
you need is two, three stops, and you right back in the game.
I think 2K has some sort of catch up feature or something on where like you get up too
Oh
much.
yeah,
It's like,
oh yeah.
all right, we gotta let them
It
back in the
definitely
game.
started tripping.
Yeah,
You getting unforced turnovers and everything.
yeah. JaVale McGee starts hitting threes. Like, all right, we get it. Here they
Now it's
come.
time to cut it off. I'm gonna just cut it off. I'm gonna leave it alone. So with tomorrow, what do you think Dallas has to do to win their first game of this series?
Just play better defense, man. Like their offense was great. Like they're, I know, sure, Steph had a nice little game, but then they let Jordan Poole get go off. And by the way, we'll talk about it in a second. But how long are the Warriors going to be able to hang on to Jordan Poole? I mean, he's kind of like I'm not saying he is James Harden yet, but I mean he's going to start getting offers from other teams. He's not going to be a six man forever. Like other teams are going to start. But it you kind of have like a four headed monster with these two teams. You got Dinwiddie, Brunson. I know Bullock and the other guy can go off, but obviously Luca. And on the other side, you have Poole, Clay, Steph, and Wiggins,
True.
man. So you have to stop somebody. And we said this the other day. The way to stop Dallas is you let Doncic have 35, and you stop everyone else. And they didn't do that. They did not stop everyone else.
Yeah.
Brunson went off. Someone else went off. I forget who now, but so yeah, if you're Dallas, if you're one of these teams, you just gotta stop. You gotta stop two of the four players. That's all. That's all you gotta do. I really think to win this series.
But I think the difference with this series and the other two series that Dallas won, it was always somebody offensively, like Jay Crowder, couldn't create his own shot. So, if you get them in a spot to where he has to jack up threes, you can get outlets. But I think the problem with Golden State, everybody can score, you know, especially
I mean,
last
yeah,
night.
right. That's the difference between these two teams and the other series. The other series, I wouldn't be surprised to see the next 2 or 3 games come down to 95-99 or something like that. You
Right.
know what I mean? I know, but whereas these series, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go 120-111. It's two
True.
completely different series, and they both match up well with each other so far. But yeah, it's you got to stop two of the four guys. That's all you got to do. Like you just got to stop two of them, and they're not. It just doesn't seem like either of them is able to stop either side. So they were able to slow down Luca in the second half the other night, but barely.
True. Yeah, you still have 40. You still have 40. But I definitely believe you just got to keep scoring, man. Don't settle for the jumpers. You saw Reggie Bullock pulling up for a lot of elbow threes. It's like, come on, bruh. Just take it to the hole. If they make a three, you up 20, they make a three, 17, you get a two, you back up 19. Instead of trying to jack up a three, go back up 20. Then they come down, hit a three, now they down 15. Or,
Yeah,
you know, so it's like, come on, man. Just be smarter about it. But
I
I
mean, yeah.
think
And Luca, he was very efficient too the other night. I mean, only 2 turnovers. That they need more of that too. So, keep the turnovers down, and that's how you score more points is by playing better basketball, better, less sloppy basketball. And they had every chance to win that game the other night, but Steph sometimes just hits them shots, man. It just
yeah, he got hot. He got crazy hot.
and Steph really hasn't had that MVP type game yet. He's had about 6 30-point games here in the playoffs, but Dallas has three 40-point playoff games already.
Yeah.
Two from Luca, one from Brunson. Like no one on Golden State has had that game yet, and obviously we want to see it from Steph. But he hasn't had that game yet, and they're playing great team basketball. I do think there's a level of you can't just play ball hogging, but he's not shooting like, you know what I mean? Like he's not having these 55, 60% games. Like most of his games
Mhm.
that getting 30, it's on 21 shots, something like that. So that's what I want to see, man. I want to see that game where he hits probably 8 threes. But man, he was aggressive late attacking the basket the other night. Like, he had
Yes,
two
he was.
nice, yeah, he didn't just hit the big threes down the stretch. Like he had two nice like closing buckets that he attacked. And
Mhm.
by the way, I know, and Kyrie is, a lot of people say he's the best at whatever, but I think Steph at attacking the rim is just as good. Like when he wants to. I mean, his touch is so soft around the rim. It's amazing, like how efficient he is around the rim.
Yeah, I agree. And when them threes weren't dropping, I mean, not when they weren't dropping, but when they was running them off that 3-point line, he was still getting and ones, finishing at the rim. I'm like, after a while, I was like, it's a long night. It's
By the way, I actually thought that Golden State did not get their respect from the refs in the first half. I truly believed that they were getting screwed over by the refs in that first half. I think there were at least 5 or 6 calls that were so bad. Like, well, there's no calls. It were so bad, and there might have been more, but I did think they were getting disrespected by the referees. But yeah, it was, so then, at that point you just gotta tough through it and hit your shots, and they did.
true. Yeah, I agree. Um, I Jason Kidd got to do something, man. You can't make it all this way and just get swept.
I don't think they're about to get swept. I think Golden State. I mean, again, I think they got. Do think they got screwed over by the refs, and I think that was a game changer. That first half probably would have been closer if it weren't for that. But
Right.
let's just pretend it was a great referee game. I think they got lucky, man. Like go there's sure that Kerr makes some great halftime adjustments, but still, man, like there was a lot that could have gone for Dallas and that just didn't in that second half, and Dallas could have put them away as well, just as easily.
True.
So
Very true.
the ball bounced the wrong way a lot in the second half for Dallas, and
Mhm.
I mean there was one point where Steph I think missed a free throw, which hardly ever happens. Bounced right back to him, hit him. He puts it up and hits two, and it's just like, geez.
Right.
That might have been the first. I can't remember, but it was during the comeback, and it was just uh, they got some bad luck. So I think that Dallas is going to be perfectly fine in the second game. But because like I said, Kid's going to come out with a game plan in the first half that we haven't seen, and then and then Kerr's going to have to react at halftime, and I think that's what a lot of these series are. And same with Miami on the other side. The Boston comes up with a new game plan, and then Spoelstra's like, "All right, they're hitting us with this. Let's go with this." And we'll,
Right.
it just depends, like if it's going to be enough to come back. And so I think Dallas is fine. I don't think they're worried at all. I mean, you're not, they're basketball players, man. Like I'm sure fans or maybe someone's worried, but like I think the players know, like we had them last game, like we were
Mhm.
that close, and so I think Dallas knows they're fine going back home.
And I also believe, from what I saw earlier, if Andrew Wiggins can't go tomorrow, it's gonna be a tough one. They say he's questionable, but it's the Western Conference Finals. They're gonna figure something out. Even if you only play 20-25 minutes, they're gonna figure something out. He gonna play, especially the way he's been playing. Against Luca, just making it tough for him. I really thought, going into this, Golden State didn't have they didn't have much size, but they have the athletes.
Yeah,
Luca, Poole, Draymond, Clay, even Otto Porter, Looney, all of those guys. They just out athleticism. They have more athleticism than Dallas, and it shows. A lot of help side blocks last night. I'm like, this is crazy. When has Golden State ever blocked this many shots? I was like, man, hey,
I've been saying that too, man. Draymond Green has been moving his feet lately. I mean, he has
mhm,
been. It's fun to watch Draymond when he's cutting to the basket, try, cutting off defenders, trying to cut to the basket, just doing. His feet have been moving a lot lately. Maybe he's going to start showing some fatigue soon, but like when that's what made young Golden State so fun to watch was everybody moved,
Yeah,
and
for
like no
sure.
one stood still, man, and the ball was constantly moving. There were games where you'd have 4 or 5 guys all with 5 assists. Like no one was trying to run up triple double. When's the last time maybe Draymond goes for triple doubles here and there, but like I don't, he's not chasing them from the second the ball tips. There's certain players, and I'm not saying who, but there's about 7 to 10 players in the league who the second the ball goes off, they're like, all right, how do I get my triple double? If Draymond is hovering around like 14, 9, and 8, the team's going to help him get his triple double, but he's not from
True.
the start. But so I mean, yeah, man, when Golden State is playing Golden State basketball, man, they're fun to watch, and Draymond's been a huge part of that. Like he's been great last
I
four or
agree.
five games.
I got a question for you if they make the finals. I'm not gonna ask you now. I'll wait till they make the finals or not.
Okay,
But
but do you think the Warriors will be able to keep Jordan Poole? He's got 1 more year on his contract. Do you think they'll be able to keep him after that? Because they're going to have to pay him.
I think
Will
if
they
they're
be able to?
smart, they smart. No matter how this season ends, you extend them.
I agree, man. Like
That's the best way to do it.
and again, I'm not comparing him to James Harden yet, but I'm just saying, like you know what I mean? Like he's right there, man. Like he's right there where a team could offer him a max. You're the Kings or something. You know what I mean? Like, and you want to get another guard or whatever can score. Like
It's true.
like why not offer him the max? And so like it's kind of iffy, like if they're going to be able to keep him or not. Because they
Yeah,
got to pay a lot of people.
I think, like I say, if I'm Golden State, you give them an extension. No matter, like I say, no matter how the season ends, because you got to keep that core together. Because Steph ain't gonna be around too much longer. Clay, Draymond. If you can have that core, and in the process be making a whole nother younger core, you can have that smooth transition. Like San Antonio. They didn't, no matter when people started retiring, they didn't really take no dips until that, that first core retired because they couldn't keep Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green. That could have been your second core.
Yeah.
Marcus Aldridge, and really after Kawhi left, they I don't even think they've been to the playoffs or they ain't been out the first round for sure.
Hey, so we were talking the other day about like learning, right? Trying to find out how fan bases feel, right? Because you can listen to national news who are based in New York, California, wherever they might be, talk about like, oh, this, but you want to hear like what the local people think about it. We talked about this the other day with like people burning Chris Paul jerseys. I don't know if that's the whole Phoenix consensus about him. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's this level of like, you forgot where you came from. A year and a half ago, you guys were
Yeah.
like 10 games under 500, barely entering the
Or the
bubble.
Sacramento Kings
And now you've been to
of
two
Arizona.
conference finals. Yeah, you've been to two conference finals now. And like you expect to just win the championship, like to the point where you're burning jerseys. Now, I don't know if that's all Phoenix. Obviously, that could have been one dude. You know what I mean? But it seemed like there were a lot of people out there, like whatever, throwing a fit about it, right?
Right.
But I don't know that that's Phoenix and all. But we did 2 clips now, and I'm not gonna say nothing, whatever. But we did 2 clips, videos now about defending Tua and that and more taking a shot at their media than anything, right? Not taking a shot at Tua because we know what he's capable of. We defended him in both those videos.
He's very injury prone though.
Yeah,
He's
but it's been fun to see like how many people came to his defense. Like that's the thing is because I never was sure like how many people like do they in Miami are they Tua fans? You know what I mean? Like
I mean,
we sit here in
you have to
Chicago.
play.
No, but I mean here in Chicago, like it's we were split, right? Like some people were like, no, you know what, we like Mitch, and then some people were like, get rid of Mitch, right? It
I think
seems like people down there really like him, and I like to see that. That's what I like to see is like, hey, we believe in our guy. We think
I
he's the guy.
think the
We can
problem
get it
with
done.
Mitch is the Bears tried to reinvent the wheel instead of just going with the obvious option.
For sure. No, yeah. For no one's yeah,
So
no
that's
one
why I think it was mixed. It's like you took,
yeah.
it's like with Miami, Tua was their guy. It wasn't like Tom Brady was available and they took Tua anyway.
But it's same with like and this is just talking about in general, just fan bases though. But we did a video about Brandon Ingram, and talking about him, and it was awesome to see how many people, uh, New Orleans fans came to his defense. Like we're like, hey, and not we didn't take shots at him, but we were just they were talking. We talked about him, and they were like, yeah, he's our guy. We love Brandon Ingram. We don't ever want him to
Yeah.
leave. Like he's legit.
Oh, yeah.
We'd take him over KD right now. And I was like, this is cool to see because this is what makes this so much fun is doing this show is we get to see like what actual fans
People
of
think.
teams, yeah, and not just because I can read all day what the headlines say, but this dude's living in a penthouse in New York. He's not on the street in Miami or in Phoenix
No,
or in
just
New
talking.
Orleans. Yeah,
He's
and
just talking
so
from his perspective.
right. I mean, that's all we can do too. But that's why
Yeah.
it's so great to see, like, so I love it. I love the responses. To see like, hey, this is good. Now I have an actual feeling of like what these fans think about their player. And can I help you? But yeah, no, we can go back to the NBA. But yeah, I just wanted to say that like it's been a lot of like these last couple of weeks, we've really got some great responses from just I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it's fan responses, so I
Yeah.
don't read them into them too much, but they're great. They're very defensive of their players, and that's what we love to see.
But yeah, going back to your Mitch thing, that I think that was really the only problem. The Bears tried to find a diamond in the rough and hope he became Tom Brady. But when that diamond in the rough end up, I mean, he was. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even think you can really blame Mitch because
No,
Nagy,
and
Nagy did some things like this past season with Justin. It was crazy how Justin looks terrible against Buffalo. I mean Buffalo, the Browns, with Nagy calling plays, but then they played Pittsburgh with J.J. Watt in them, and Justin is having the game of his life.
yeah,
So it's like maybe it wasn't all Mitch. Maybe it was just your bad play calling at certain points of the game.
yeah, and that was my point. Was not so much whether it was Mitch or not. It was so much as if you watched shows on TV or read headlines from
Yeah.
national, it was like Chicago fans want to get rid of Mitch now, and it's like and I know someone's sitting there like, well, yeah, I was one of them people. But like there was also a large group of people who were like, no, we liked Mitch. We thought, we knew he wasn't Jesus, but at the same time, like we knew he was capable of doing, we did go 12-4 a couple of years ago. We had, we
Well, I think that was a defensive year because that
well,
defense
I
was
agree with that. I'm like I said,
out of
I'm not saying
control.
I'm not, no, I'm not. I'm just saying there were a certain group of fans who thought, like, listen, if we had run the ball more, if we had, maybe one more better receiver, maybe a tight
I
end or
agree.
something, Mitch could have been better than what we, whatever. I'm just saying, nationally, you don't hear the same things that might be happening locally, and so that's what makes this doing the show so much fun is we get those responses.
True.
Because nationally, I mean, they were just hammering Mitch, man. They were just, it was never good. But locally, there were a large group of people who liked him.
Right. And I think now, watching the way Nagy handled Justin, it's like maybe it wasn't all Mitch. Maybe if Mitch could have had a coach that did everything that he was good at instead of trying to make him something he wasn't, Bears would have been a lot better. So,
Yeah,
just gotta go with what you got now. Team Justin. I
and he's
think
still got
that's
a chance to prove himself out in Pittsburgh. So
true, 100%. Hopefully, he's able to showcase his talent. Hopefully Pickett or Mason Rudolph don't come in and just shut everything down. Hopefully, but I think Pickett would be the Pittsburgh choice because of course he went to college there. He's Pittsburgh through and through. How many Pittsburgh quarterbacks play for Pittsburgh and is successful anyway?
Hey, let's talk about that Bob Cousy versus JJ Redick beef. Have you
Okay,
seen this?
I've heard of it. I've heard his Bob Cousy's response, and
Yeah,
he spoke pretty well, man. He's 93. At 93, some people be like, I don't want to talk, but
I I kind
you
of
know,
wondered that. I was asking my wife that. I was like, I wonder if JJ Redick knew Bob Cousy was still around. Like, you know what I mean?
of
Like,
course. Well,
I'm just joking, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes because here's the thing, right? There's this certain line where you want to respect the older players, but you also they need to understand that the game is changing as well, right? So JJ's comments were in reference to an older player. I was telling like my wife, right? If I grew up and for Thanksgiving we always have turkey, we always have turkey, we always have turkey. I go over to her house and they have ham, and eventually one day I'm like, I prefer turkey just because that's the way I remember it. And she goes, "Oh, because you don't like Italian Thanksgivings." I'm like, "Whoa, it has nothing to do with that. It's just
right.
it's just how I grew up. Like it's not had nothing to do." And so like JJ went in on somebody. By the way, huge fan of JJ as a player.
he's
As,
he's very knowledgeable, but I think sometimes
he was one of my favorite players. He was always one
his
of my favorite
takes are
players.
wild. His
From
takes
the
be
time
wild.
he
Sometimes.
from the time he came into the league, I always was a big promoter of him. I always said this guy's, he never made it, but I always said he's going to make an all-star game. He's going to prove it. Like he's an all-star, I promise you. He never made it, but he got close several times. But as an analyst, man, you've got to learn, and he's great. He's gonna get better, and he's whatever. But like you got to toe that line between understanding, like, because the old guy came in and said, "I don't like the way Draymond says these things, does these things," and it's like, "All right, buddy, you have to sit there and say, all right, buddy, we get it. That's fine. I understand the way you grew up is different, but
Mhm.
you also have to understand the league is changing." And instead of saying that, JJ started taking shots at the older guys. And it's like,
Yeah,
and then you just did the same thing that this guy just did. So basketball a certain way, whereas cocky, in your face, all this stuff. And then you want to be like, yeah, well, Bob Cousy played against plumbers and dentists. And it's like, come on, man. That wasn't a call for. It wasn't necessary. Like, what the heck? So I love it. I love this beef. I love it when 93-year-old comes out and says his piece. But
yeah.
it was great.
But I think too, what we gotta realize is the older greats, somebody you can compare them to in today's game. Like we could say, oh, Dennis Rodman wouldn't be able to play today, but Dennis Rodman could be Bam.
Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain was a freak of nature athlete.
Yeah,
Like he could play anytime. Like he wasn't like
yeah,
it wasn't because there were 8 teams in the league that he was great. Like he was great
mhm,
because he was great. But one of the things, actually, is a baseball reference. One of the things that separates this, I think, is the biggest, most obvious analogies, I guess. The older players don't like it when you hit a home run and flip the bat, right? You hit a home run, flip the bat. They don't like that. But then they think that it's okay because you flip the bat to whip a 95-mile-an-hour fastball at your head next time you come up to plate. And it's like,
yeah,
okay, we're trying to say, like, listen, we understand, like, we understand you don't like the bat flip, but that's who it is now. That's the league now. But also,
right,
you're talking crazy where you think you can throw a fastball at my head, like,
right.
you have to, like,
That's right.
so it's trying to toe that line of like, we understand where you came from, and I'm not going to take shots at your league, but you
Mhm.
have to now understand the new league, and that's where it's easy as an analyst to just go off. You know what I mean? Like, it's just to say, well, he's not Michael Jordan. It's like, all right, we can't compare everybody to Michael Jordan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing with Westbrook, right? Is like they always gets compared to LeBron, and it's like, no, you can't. You got to compare him to his peers or whatever, or something else. But yeah. So it's an interesting line that you have to toe. But yeah, I loved it, man. When Bob Cousy's calling out people.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because I mean, you got to defend your territory. It's
I
almost
mean, yeah, he attacked
a
a bunch
young
of the
guy.
greats.
It's almost like a young guy 40 years from now saying, "Oh, LeBron couldn't play in our day." LeBron gonna be like, "I couldn't. You sure?"
Yeah, I haven't been running the things the whole time. My bad. But yeah, no, it's just we can move on from this one. But yeah, it's just he didn't just call out Bob Cousy. He called out everyone Bob Cousy
Yeah,
ever played with,
yeah.
and
And
they were
it was some greats, man. Wilt,
yeah.
Bill, Oscar Robertson. Like,
I
bruh,
mean, would they score 100 points if they played today in a game? No. Would they get 50?
well, I don't know. Kobe
No,
got 82.
81. But yeah, I mean, but 81's a
Was it
long way
81?
from that's a long way from 100. 81.
It's
I mean,
crazy. It
bro,
is.
19
It
points.
is.
You
It is.
almost need like another quarter to get 19 points.
Hey, that's why they got overtime.
But yeah, you got to time it just right where you come into like overtime around like 83 points,
Yes,
but
sir.
and then get that extra and then just gun it in overtime.
Right. Hopefully
Maybe
you
go
get
into a
about
second, yeah, maybe get a
five
second
threes.
overtime. But
Yes.
no, man, it's just yeah, like those guys though still could have played and been all stars, if not superstars, in today's league. Would they have averaged? Would they have had 50 rebound games? Probably not. Probably not. But they
100%.
still would have had some 30 rebound games here and there, maybe once
I
a
mean, they
year.
do it now. Your boy Kevin Love used to 20 and 20.
Right. Dwight Howard did it 2020. So yeah, I think that
Sean
Bill.
Whiteside, I remember. I think when he played the Bulls one day, when he was in Miami, I think he got about 20 and 4 blocks or something.
Dwight just a couple years ago with the Hornets. Dwight Howard had a 30 rebound game. So I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. Those guys would still be all time greats if they'd play today. Obviously, their stats wouldn't be that inflated on certain
Right.
games, but so yeah, just to say these things, whatever. I mean, again, this has nothing to do with JJ Redick. It's just this is great TV, man. Bob Cousy, JJ Redick, go. I'm here for it. But in a way, yeah, I agree. Like JJ kind of did the same thing that he was calling out the guy for doing.
Right.
Um,
Plumbers and firemen.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. So that come on, man.
It's
Like,
like, yeah, that's kind of
I mean, that's a funny like if
disrespectful.
you're a comedian or if you're making comedy, and I assume he was. It's funny. It's funny to say. We talk about that. Jordan was guarding whatever. People say that LeBron fans will say that Jordan was guarding guys who, whatever. Um, but listen. But if you're being serious, if you're trying to call someone out for something, and then saying the same exact thing about their generation, well, then you're not being funny. You're just being, hypocritical. But yeah, no, it'll be all right though. But I liked it, man. It was great.
Yeah, I did too. I did too. I did too, man. It was. I mean, it was. It was very goldish comeback. He wanted the top 75 for a reason. And people can't say, "Oh, well, everybody." No, everybody ain't get chose. Stop. It's
I mean,
only
we talked about
75.
it. Yeah, we talked about it the other day when we did our where does Chris Paul rank all time? I think we all had Bob Cousy top 10, if not top 5 point guard all time. I mean,
Yeah.
he definitely deserves to be in
Even
that
watching those
conversation.
highlights, man, he was dropping some dimes. I'm like, bro, you don't see this.
He was it Cousy who am I thinking of? It might have been Cousy who was like the first one that was giving us flashy passes and just
It was.
it was Cousy. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, behind the back, no looks. I'm
yeah.
like, bro, you doing this in the 50s?
Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like other people are still learning how to dribble, and this guy's out there just woo.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
referees during his time had to be wondering, like, wait, is that legal? Like, you know what I mean? Because the rules were still being set. They're like, I, I'm gonna swallow my whistle because I don't know the call on that one. You know what I mean? Like he was doing them kind of plays.
100%.
Yeah. So
100%.
yeah.
All right, brother. Brother John, take us out.
I mean, that's it here for Real Deal Sports, baby. We got 41 subscribers. Thank you for all of you checking in with us and checking out the live, watching the other shows. Thank you for subscribing. We'll be back probably tomorrow with another live show tomorrow afternoon. talk a little bit NFL. I want to talk about the Deion Sanders comments.
Crazy.
Yeah,
But it's needed though.
and then Skylar Diggins and Dan Taurasi kind of had their Jimmy Butler and moment. You know
Udonis
what I mean?
Haslam.
Where they had to be. I don't know if they had to be, but they were separated on the bench by their teammates. We want to talk about that tomorrow. Maybe this is a big moment for them going forward. Maybe they, because listen, they're missing Brittany Griner, right? She's been, over 3 months now. She's been in prison. So, it's a big loss for them. So, I'm sure they're feeling some stuff down there. But I think could be a big moment for them going forward, and because they're both competitive. But I don't want to get too deep into that. We'll do that tomorrow. So come back. Check us out tomorrow afternoon. We'll have another live show right here. Real
Yes,
Deal
sir.
Sports.
Thank you, guys. Later.
Later.